Hello traders, this is Rich from Tradesight. This is the market preview for Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. We had a pretty decent update across the board with the Dow up 100 points and the Nasdaq side was dragging its feet a bit, but wasn't too far behind, up 23 points. Market internals today were really strong. The advanced declines were plus 1,600 issues on New York and plus almost 1,500 on Nasdaq. So pretty good market internals. The VIX dropped by 53 cents. I think it got below the 14 level, but isn't in that critical area below 12.5 yet. The New York trend was at 82 cents, and we'll take a look at the 10-day trend and where we sit with that. But first, let's move on and take a look at the overall futures with their levels. All right, first off, let's start with the Nasdaq futures, which were not the star of the show. You can see that we did gap up on the day, and actually in fact, all the day's gain came from the gap. We wound up selling just a little bit below the day's open, and the gap from the previous day is still open here. We use the 10 EMA for resistance intraday, and keep in mind that if we do push up into that area again tomorrow, we're going to have to deal with the 50 DMA as well, which is just a little bit higher at 36.16. To the downside, that gap from Friday still open, so 35.64.5 is going to be the area to watch on the downside. And then if we do continue lower, we're going to be looking at the static trend line. The broad market side was definitely the the bright point. The Dow was actually the strongest of all the sides, trying to push up a little bit here and get away from that 8/8 level at 16,250. But the reality is we're still essentially in this lateral trading range that we've been trapped in for almost 2 weeks now. So really need to get out of that range to start getting some new technicals to develop. If we do push up higher, we're going to have a lot of resistance here at about 16,500 or so, which is the area of these prior highs that was previously rejected by sellers. To the downside, we're going to have some really good support at 16,250, which is also going to be the area of the gap fill from Friday. Onto the ES futures. ES futures look, the last couple weeks look a lot suspiciously like the Dow Jones side of the market. If we do push up, we're going to get into this 8/8 area at 1875, and that has been trouble for the market. So just keep that in mind. And like the other futures that we looked at, the gaps below do remain open. A little different feature here. We are 10 days up now, so there is a possibility that we could get an exhaustion warning this week if we do push higher. So definitely keep on top of your bar counts. All right, here's a look at the 10-day trend. 10-day trend is right around 0.99. Just remember the 1.0 level is not the neutral point of the 10-day trend. It's actually a little bit higher than that. So we actually are marching a little bit towards the overbought area at 0.85. We are a day or two away from that happening if the market does want to continue to the upside. So for now, there's still some gas in the tank. Here's a look at the Dow Gold ratio. This has been coming on pretty strong here for the last week or so, with strength in the Dow relative to gold. If we do get back up to this trend line, we are going to find some resistance here. That's going to be that point where you're probably going to want to pause here. You're going to see a pause here in the market. Here's another look at the relative strength of the broad market versus the NDX. The NDX continues to show relative weakness, dropping back down near the midpoint of this channel here. So we've clearly lost the trend line here, and the relative strength of the broad market's really starting to exert itself. So be sure to factor that in when you're reviewing your charts for trades. All right, here's the multi-sector daily chart, and a look at the relative performance of the major sectors. XAU was pretty poor today. Didn't have a very good performance. The SOX, which is the blue line, had a pretty nice day, essentially matching the previous high. BTK started a little bit of a bounce, but this decline here in the BTK, which is the red line, is certainly a source of a lot of the weakness from the overall market on the Nasdaq side. The banking index was better today, but did not make a new high. Right, here's a look at the sectors from ranked from best to worst. Let's look at the bottom of the list. That's the XAU was weak. The XOY was real weak too, and the oil services really didn't have it today. A little bit of a pause today in the oil futures, and that's probably throwing a little bit of cold water on the advance there. Transports were pretty strong, which was nice. They're actually stronger than the overall broad market, which you really need to have when the energy stocks are starting to drag a little bit. BTK had a pretty solid bounce today. That was up 3%. So that's definitely something that you can be looking at on the long side now for a possible return back to a little bit of a better trend, and perhaps even a retest of the high, or at the very least some kind of a B wave bounce here. Here's a look at the oil futures. Oil futures found support at this 9-bar drop in the area of the 50 DMA. We're now 4 days up. If we continue to the upside, this static trend line is going to be the one that's the level that's in play. That's coming in about 103.5. So if we do continue to the upside, that's the level to watch. To the downside, there's going to be huge support at the 4/8 level, at least on a short-term basis, where we have all these moving averages converging with that round number at 100. Gold futures were pretty weak again today. We're 9 bars down in the seeker startup phase, but haven't been able to recoup it, and we're back down below all the major moving averages again. Got some minor support here at the 5/8 level, but the real support doesn't come into 1250, which is the 4/8 level, and more importantly, the static trend line on the daily there. The TLTs are starting to retreat again. We do have that 13 exhaustion in place. We play with the risk level here a little bit. Ignore this little spike today. That's erroneous data, but we settled right in the area of the 10 EMA. Use that for support on the open today. So this 8/8 level is likely to be a kind of a glue area for the short term. If that breaks, we're going to look at the 6/8 level. But note the trend right here is still upsloping and still positive for now until we get a resolution out of this little mini area. Moving on to some of the important sectors. XAL still has this 13 exhaustion in place. Basically just retested the high here. Actually made a new closing high on this move. If we do break out through this, we're going to put this 8/8 level and the risk level in place. So keep that in mind if we do head a little bit higher. BTK was also real strong today on a relative basis. We had this real low close at the 4/8 level on Friday. If we do pivot back to the upside, we're going to target this 6/8 level where we got the 10 EMA and the 50 period simple moving average coming together. Semiconductors were fairly strong today. We're 10 days up here on the seeker count, so keep that in mind. If we do push higher, we definitely could qualify for a signal this week. Finally, we want to take a look at the banking index, BKX. Today had a little bit of a bounce. There's no seeker count in the way right now to impede this, so if we do continue this upside here, we actually have a shot at this 8/8 level at $75. Finally, let's take a look at the oil services. OSX has that 13 exhaustion in place from Friday. Today was just kind of like a little bit of a measuring day. This does have some fairly decent extension. Might want to go up and game this previous high here a little bit, so we could actually reach all the way up to the 7/8 level before we get any kind of a turn. That's very possible, but at this point, putting on long trades is going to be a little tricky in this sector until we resolve this signal one way or another. All right, folks. As always, thanks for listening. This has been Rich for Tradesight.